Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rational Investor CEO's Daily Brief. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, nice to see we have a fairly full lounge. Do see a couple people are on here twice. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, and we're live on YouTube now, so that's encouraging. So if you do happen to look down and see that you have a couple egos, keep in mind the Hangout window only has room for 25 people. So you never know. Some days we get people that are just storming in. So anyway, welcome back to the broadcast. Nice to see we got quite an attentive audience here this morning. And I noticed that just about I can usually time when the site is about to massively ramp up because I see Kevin come in and say good morning, and then it's sort of like it's sort of the official. There's just a full lot of people that all come in at once, but we're chatting away, and I suppose we have a few Kevins here, so when each get to the Kevins going, me, no, me. My Kavarkinator. And I swear, you guys give me the yeah, I know. Well, I wouldn't surprise me, Garrett. You guys give me the opportunity, I'll try and make you famous. I swear I will. Speaking of which, actually, it was interesting in the lounge this morning. We were talking about Davo setups. So, and I love talking about Kavarks. Hey, Kevin's joined twice. Sure is an interesting time in the market, eh? I suppose, broader market-wise, I'm actually a little surprised the broader market's kind of breaking down here a little bit while the stock indexes continue to go to new highs. I definitely think that there's probably a lot of sort of political risk in the market right now. And if the Republicans pull off this tax cut, my hunch is that the bigger stocks, I was hearing things like bank stocks and so I put together a really cool list here of all the commodities. And just to give you just a really good illustration of the difference of the market, if we look at something like the Dow, which is predominantly, I'm still connected here. All right, maybe that's not going to load. Anyway, the Dow is predominantly big blue chip stocks, all that kind of talk. And it's just powering to new highs. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing here, but YM1 exclamation mark. Let's see if that'll load. It's too bad, man. I put together that list last night. So, I mean, you can just see the Dow is just on a tear. And, AB equals CDs. It looks to me like this thing wants to go higher. I've heard lots of people say that, holy Jesus, the stock market's getting awfully risky. But at the same time, too, there's good old Trump's election way back there, right? Jesus, what a move. The irony of it all is it's actually percentage-wise, it's not that big of a move. But anyway, what I'm hearing is it's going to be a bit of a love fest as Janet leaves office. We heard her last testimony yesterday. You can even sort of see it in her herself. She appeared to look like she had aged quite a bit since the last time I saw her, and she almost looked sort of emotionally detached. So I have a feeling basically she's been marginalized now. They always say new Fed governors are always tested, so the market's definitely going to test this Fed governor's resolve. Also, just listening to the rags, the talking heads, seems a consensus. I don't know were you guys paying attention? Did anybody, first off, did anybody listen to Yellen's testimony? You probably should. If you're the type of person that's like, I really want to get educated in the markets and become a professional trader, you kind of have to force yourself to get into the habit of that. Well, did she? I don't actually think she did. I think CNBC, I think they're trying to spin it that she shit on it, but really the irony, I was actually sitting here yesterday and I was everything that she has told you, I have told you repeatedly in these daily briefs. There really isn't any difference between what she said and what I tell you on a daily basis. I mean, we talk about this on a daily basis, KF. Does anybody have any, is anybody in their right mind have any business investing in Bitcoin to make capital gains on Bitcoin right now? I mean, you can play the altcoin market. That's a whole other creature altogether. But if you are like, oh, I'm going to buy Bitcoins because I think I'm going to make $1 million buying Bitcoins, you could really get quite bitch slapped here. So frankly speaking, the irony of it all is she said it's not a legal form of tender, which is correct. It isn't. She said it's a volatile asset. And, has anybody ever heard the expression, what goes up usually must something, something, something. This is why we have to force ourselves as traders to take profits on the way up, right? If anything, you know what I heard her say, which I thought was kind of cool, was I heard her say, it's not the Fed's job to get involved in any of this. The Fed's job is just to make sure that anybody who does get involved in this understands the risks that are involved, and let's call a spade a spade. This is risky shit. And don't fucking pull a Lehman Brothers. I mean, everybody know Lehman Brothers. Does anybody here who does not know why Lehman Brothers went under? Does anybody here know why Lehman Brothers went under? Maybe that's the question I should ask. No. Well, I mean, the sad part about it, yeah, they just took on way too much. They just wrote a shitload of this mortgage paper. They just leveraged themselves to the fucking hilt. And when the paper went south, they were screwed. So, in my opinion, I think, like I was joking with one guy on the Twitter that I like to chat with, Zoinky. Really, all she did was she just passed the buck. She didn't really say anything dramatic. But what I do like, right, is for price to go higher, can we have everybody bullish? Just out of curiosity, is that realistic? Is it possible? At some point, you just simply run out of buyers. Market can't go any higher because everybody's long. So what we need when we do see a run up in price, ironically enough, and this is such a cool chart now, ironically enough, this setup really hasn't done anything. The signal fired off the double bottom, got a nice little check and a trendline break, a la Ron Jeremy's. It went zooming up, and we have literally just done absolutely nothing for like what? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our almost 5th day just stuck in this trading range. That is like absolute torture for crypto knots, right? 5 days of the market going sideways. This is, I can handle this fucking stress. But the irony of it all is that really, oh, somebody's going to get that soundbite, eh? Paul, you got a trigger. So the point here, though, is as price was going up through here, what was the general sentiment in the public? Everybody's like, rah, rah, Bitcoin, right? And then watching the CNBC guys, oh, fuck, not another goddamn Bitcoin new high. So we got to get rid of that sentiment. For this thing to actually go higher, you've got to get some people on the sell side. And so I was actually really encouraged when I saw CNBC come out, and I'm not quite sure why, but they have just decided, and it must be a managerial direction, but they have just decided that they are going to be negative on crypto. So, and what's really interesting is technically they're supposed to be reporters. So technically they're not really supposed to have a bias. So I find that really interesting. Like there's one anchor. Yeah. Whatever happened to this thing called the Fifth Estate, man? It doesn't exist anymore. Technically, if they're good journalists, they should be unbiased. They should just report the facts. But good luck. And the sad part about it is it probably is a big function of somebody has told them higher up how to behave and what their attitude should be, which is pathetic, right? But that is capitalism for you. Anyway, long story short, frankly speaking, and it was interesting. I was chatting with somebody in the lounge earlier. You as a trader, you don't really get paid for opinions. Opinions don't really mean a hell of a lot. The worst part about this stupid game of trading is that it's an emotional trap. So, like we saw somebody the other day was posting a whole bunch of FUD, and, I hate when people go out on Twitter. It's such a, I don't want to be racial here, but I see it all the time out of the Chinese. They'll just put a tweet out saying, "Oh, I've been informed by sources that this is all a scam and you're all fucked." It's like, what? It's like, oh, Jesus. They're totally anonymous, no traceability whatsoever, but people get sucked into this emotional trap. So I tried to convey in the lounge earlier today, the hardest part of this stupid game is just putting your opinion away and just trading your setups. It's so difficult. I think this, screenshot is a perfect testament where, if I was trading the bot, I should be long, and really I should be doing absolutely nothing. And if the market craps out and goes down here, I walk away at scratch. And so fucking what? On to the next trade. China, 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 China. What I find really interesting about this, right? Will there be a new website, Brian? I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't understand, Garrett. TRI exit scam? Oh, no, I hope not. I mean, the great part about it, guys, is I have no agenda here. I mean, what's so cool is to watch these guys like Seward, and Michael is working a lot with Julian and stuff. And these guys, they are just like, they're falling over each other how excited they are about this new platform. It's weird. It's like, we're not building a website. And Brian Dinosaur, right? Has anybody ever seen my 1980s website? Like, Brian has sort of an idea of what a website is, right? It's just sort of like, like a blank sheet. But what these guys are building, it's like they're building like an application. You guys are going to be like, when you log on to the site, and it's not really a site. That's not really the best way to describe it. It's like you're actually going to be like stepping into an application, if that makes any sense at all. So I'm just damn impressed with what these guys are up to. But I'm a bloody dinosaur. So everybody's probably got to bear with Brian. It's going to take me a little while to get up to speed. I mean, what these guys are doing, it's just like, holy shit. And I go in and I make comments in the group, and they're like, "Yeah, thanks for your input, Brian." Next. So anyway, we'll see what happens with regard to that website. But these guys are brilliant, and that's half my problem, Garrett. Is that I know how to trade, right? I know how to manage behavior, but I'm no computer expert. So watching these guys at work, it's just like, holy shit. So anyway, back to our story. I thought it was really interesting, and I've noticed this too. It seems to be a further validation, this whole sort of Ron Jeremy kind of setup thinking here, where if we can get bot levels to confirm off of trendline breakouts, super sexy validation of bot. And I find it fascinating that I just drew a nice little connect the dots, and gee whiz, look how we just keep bumping up against this trend line. And then I drew a trend line off of these lows, and gee whiz, what a coincidence. Everything seems to be coming to some sort of apex right here. It's quite shocking, really. So I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I haven't got a fucking clue. I'm a trader. I love the bot. It got me funded as a crude oil trader. So I know it works. And really long and short of it here is, if we do accept through these trend lines here, this is going to be a really big battle. I'm not necessarily saying it is going to break out. This thing might just crap out here. Totally possible, totally doable. But if we do accept above this level, and I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a little bit more fuck youery through here. But the long and short of it here is if we do accept above this level, I think we really have to be starting to seriously think about 20 grand. So, fingers crossed. I'm a crypto bull. I mean, I want to be a bull. So, maybe a little bit of emotional bias. I would rather not see Bitcoin crap out. But, nonetheless, there are the levels. They're sitting there. If you want to take the trade, gives you about $1,100 risk per Bitcoin, whatever kind of leverage you use. Try and make sure to respect those levels, just like this. This was a really big risk window, no doubt about it. So I was kind of relieved, that the move stopped to scratch levels hit, because that would have been a painful hit. But nonetheless, there it is. And if this thing comes in, then I actually start getting multiple bot targets up around this 20,000. And, the irony of it all is we're coming into this CME event, right? The CBOE, they're kind of like chumps in comparison to the CME. So I would imagine that this CME event is going to be quite fucking hoopla. Oh, wow. Digi's popping here? Oh, geez. I don't know whether you guys got that announcement that I put in the lounge about Digi. But went and bought some. I was going to talk about it, but it's breaking out already, fuckers. You're going to have to work bids to join me. So that's my Bitcoin thinking right now. The shitty part about this, right, is that I seem to be getting different messages from different markets. So if I go over to China, for example, I still see that there's some unfinished business here on this profile. And China's, there's that trend line that we sort of looked at just a moment ago off a stamp. There's that same level. We could have to come down to this trend line here, back to the POC, fill in this notch. And it's just going to be more torture here, because really that's not going to break this down. Remember, stop to scratch is way down here. If we do crap out, we might come down here and have to start working against these trend lines again. I don't know. But the long and short of it here is we got 1 low, 2 low, 3 lows, a bullish resolution through this level, and I'm starting to get pretty darn bullish again. Okay, so why don't we leave the summary at that? I don't know why this commodities list never loaded. That sucked, because I want to show you a few things, and I'll work on that through the weekend. Let's pop on over to some crypto. And, I think really, I actually went and just bought some of this morning. I think this is sort of the time of year. This is we always make this joke, right? This is the only business when stuff goes on sale, nobody wants to buy. And here I think is a perfect example. And really, frankly speaking, I wouldn't mind nibbling here, nibbling here. I remember we looked at, we've got Mr. 91 and 91.4%. I'm no longer going to call him by his name. His name now, from now on, in my eyes, is Mr. 91.4%. So sort of inside joke. So, we were talking a little bit in the lounge, and, I think it makes sense why the market was coming into these levels and finding a bit of support in here. We had some price gaps. There's one more gap down here at about 35 ticks or something like that. Maybe that's it there. That's 68. Might have been off a different exchange. I seem to remember there was a gap right around here, 35 or something. There's that one down there, 20. Oh, there. That might be it there. No, that's 57. Okay, well, anyway, some gaps that could still be filled in here, no doubt about it. But look where we are. I mean, you can see quite a few of these gaps have been filled in. So we can take this one off. That one's been filled. And I think this one's been filled. Right down in there. Profile away. So, I hope you guys can realize, I mean, like, I put out hey, I'm a nice guy. I don't really like to do it too often. because I do like to justify you guys hanging around the site. But I was like, today, what the hell? Let's give the public a treat. And I even told the public about this. And really, you know, my attitude is a good trade is a good trade is a good trade. And, you know, here's the kick in the pants. Just a test of value high is 5x. Just a test of value high. Somebody in the lounge this morning was pointing out that they took a trade and they were looking to take profits. And they realized that asking for above value high might be a little much. So here's a great example. We're just a test of value high, 200 period moving average. That's like 5 times your money. That's ridiculous. This is why those guys like Joshua are making a fortune right now, Mr. 91.4%. So, and the irony of it all, this is the irony of this silly game, guys. Does anybody know, what do we call this 38.2? Anyone? How about over on, yeah, there are a few gaps down below mark. Anyway, first stop. And we say that the first stop, we can't really decide whether this is a bull market or a bear market until this level way up here has been resolved. We might actually be in a bear market. We come right up to 38.2. You can see the original structural fail level right in here. You can see these highs here. You can see this nice wick. All these guys are trapped on the couch, sleeping on the couch. They just are wishing that they could get off the couch. It's 10x from where we are. This is ridiculous. So the irony of it all is this might still be a bear. It just bounced back to the 38.2, then comes back down, make new lows, and you can make 10 times your money here. So bottom line here is, this is the message I'm trying to convey to you guys. A lot of people, when they first come to trading, they get all mired and wrapped up, right, in something like this, looking at like an hourly chart. And are like, okay, wait, should I be taking profits? Okay, should I, you know, oh, cool, I took 17 ticks from the market. I got 10% return on my money. Whoa, well, you know, if you get wrapped up in that thinking, you're missing the big picture. This is it. I mean, if anything, our sort of message is, let's give the bottom pickers the top 5-10% of the market. Who cares? This is too difficult to pick the tops and bottoms, and you're just going to go gray trying to do that. What we want to do is we want to try and capture this big ass chunk in the middle. That's what we want to go after. So you know, like there was a coin here. It's probably a good example. We should probably talk about it. I'm sure it's probably asked. This Ripple right here. You know, for people who bought off of the bottom here, I remember when I was talking about it, it was a little too aggressive of a W for me, but I did hear quite a few people in the lounge took the trade. Rock on. I actually, you know, if you're actually thinking about exiting here and walking away completely, I think you're actually missing a huge profit opportunity. I definitely think it's a good idea to take some profits here. And as you can see, this seems to be very healthy, normal sort of rally window here. This one was pretty extreme. And usually it backs off. So if you want to maybe like let them have some and then reload back on a test of these lows, totally fine. Please don't chase this up here. But I would actually argue, guys, that what we're really trying to do here, we're trying to capture this. This is what we're trying to go after. And, you know, some of these damn coins, Wayne was talking about it recently. Some of these coins, they'll do this in just one straight move. So, you know, I totally appreciate if you made money on this move. Great. Awesome. You know, the irony of it all is that where do we find, I just asked you guys, where do we find out if this is still a bear or not? We can't even make the decision about whether this is a bull or not. So where is that on this thing? That's way up here. Isn't that funny? You could be selling at 4,500 and you could literally wake up tomorrow and see the damn thing twice the price and be like, oh, motherfucker, I could have bought 2 Lambos. Jesus, one for me and the wife. Anyway, so hats off to those people that did buy the bottom. And if you played this leverage, whatever, rock on, take profits, pay yourself. And I can completely understand if we have to stall. But guys, really what I want us to do now, please, guys, you know, as this thing sort of finds its bottom, whatever the hell it looks like, let's get ready to fucking take advantage of this. This is where the Lambos are going to be made, right? That was actually this image that I put here. You know, all this is the backfilling and make great money, rock on, you know, see if you can generate free positions, all that kind of stuff. But look at the time of year here, right? Position yourself so when this happens, and frankly speaking, it wouldn't surprise me if this thing's at new highs next summer. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But when that does happen, right, you are getting paid serious. Anyway, so I really like and I sort of have been sort of nibbling, you know, not on this one. I've been waiting for this guy to get back down. I'm starting to like what I see here now. So I've started to initiate a nibble strategy. I've got another bid working down at 40 on this guy down here. I guess that's the Poloniex chart, eh? So I've got the order on Trex. A little bit of a sloppy there. But nonetheless, got the order down at 40 on Trex anyway. I don't know whether it gets filled or not. I might readjust that based on the Trex gaps. But I think it's in everybody's interest now to just start going and accumulating these positions. Don't buy it now because it's now offered at 118, so it's gone. But as these double bottoms come in, you know, you just got to be quick on the trigger. And actually, that's an interesting side too. If we start seeing these altcoins just going up too much, guess what's going to happen here? Who's seen this record before? No. Well, I mean, they might bang back down, but I've seen this repeatedly in crypto, guys. I was kind of hoping you guys would pick up on this. We usually see that if the money just keeps pouring into crypto, into these altcoins, and these damn things just keep going up 60%, you know, 13%, 15%, rocking and rolling, 18% on fucking BCH. Gigabyte 22%. I mean, these things are all rocking. What do you think's going to happen? Yeah, that's right, Warwick. At some point, Bitcoin's going to go, fuck it, I'm not going to let them have all the fun, and it's going to take off here, and that's what's going to probably stall this rally. I've seen this happen so many times. Somebody journal this shit, please. All right. All right, I didn't get much of a reaction out of that one. All right, I guess I'll just move on. All right, so let's head on over to the list. I've given you sort of my rant for the day. Anybody remember where we left off yesterday? POWR. Oh, yeah, and I went and bought some of that. I told you guys that I put the alert on. If the double bottom came in, I was going to go and buy some. So I did. I think the one good thing about Brian is he usually is good for his word. So if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm probably going to do it. So I went and pulled the trigger here. In fact, the market went shooting up, and I just put the order in at the level. Turns out I didn't have to wait too long to get a fill, so done. At the same time, I also threw in a bid at 78.6, and so that's working away. So I like this. Perfect. Excellent. Exactly what I should be doing with my money this time of year is, you know, basically and I was even mentioning this in the lounge to you guys. Hats off to all of you who had the patience and the discipline to basically get through October, November, and I suppose even to a certain degree December in crypto, because usually it's an absolute torture test. I guess this one doesn't have that much history, so we might have to come down lower here, but I didn't mind the idea. We analyzed this, didn't mind the idea of going and starting to pick some up here. But now we're heading into the end of the year. I've got, good 2-3 Bitcoin to spend. I like to throw about somewhere between 0.1 and 0.2 BTC into a name. So I've got to actually get out there and start shopping. So, and I have, like I said, I picked up a bit of this. I said I was going to yesterday. I did. This morning I went and bought a little bit of a Digi on that move. And hopefully everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, I see the logic, double bottoms. Brian loves buying his W's. And really, I think it's, off the hourly chart, you can see the totally sick, sexy buy level down here at 88. I just went and pulled the trigger right here at, I think I got filled at 108, something like that. So nice to see that they're pushing it higher here. I'm in no hurry here whatsoever. I showed you the big picture, right? And the cool part about it is Sjord's got the script going. So now instantly when I saw the trade go through, I saw all the sell orders automatically got placed. I was so stoked when I saw that. I was like, right on. Take that, Bittrex, in your face. So I thought that was sorry, got all excited there. Don't put that one out, Paul. You're gonna get me into trouble. The point here is that I feel very confident that we're well positioned there going forward. So, and also too, I think probably I had put out a tweet yesterday talking a little bit about on how Bittrex now is not showing orders. My old sort of fills and stuff like that, which kind of pissed me off. And actually, I was actually quite surprised. A lot of responses came back saying, yeah, we're moving to Bionce or Binance or whatever the hell it's called. So I think I actually have to get off my ass and get that account opened up. Yeah, I'm here, Beyonce. Why do I keep saying that? I don't know why. Anyway, Binance, right? So I got to get off my butt and get an account open there because I'm hearing, if anything, and this is just probably good money management. You don't want to bet all your, put all your eggs in one basket. I think I might start diversifying away from Bittrex a bit. Not overly impressed with what I've been seeing lately. And I think that's probably good advice to all of you too, right? Be in a flexible position. I'm actually pleased to see that enough people like this Binance site that maybe we can actually consider it a half-decent alternative. So something to think about. All right, let's see how Bitcoin's doing. Are we going to break out to the top? Come on, baby. I'm a Bitcoin bull. Do it for me. No, I'm just stuck. Oh, well. So it's not just yet, but good thing to see. We've got a nice little fractal that's actually fired here. So, man, you can see we're coming right up to this apex, eh? Talk about an event. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, got sidetracked there. Sorry, guys. So did we actually even start? So he's POWR all the way down here. We did all these ones. Wings. Is that where we are? Wings. Well, just yet again, another coin that's right down at the bottom of this range. I seem to recall I went and picked some up down in here. I think this is where I was a buyer. Nanny Nibbles, the story. You can clearly see this wick right here, trapped bulls. They got released on this event right into here. Now this has formed a bit of a railroad tracks, which is pretty nasty. That's going to be pretty damn big resistance going forward. Horizontal support and resistance, right? You can see we've got this low. Oh, cool color. This low. Now this high. All right, so that's going to be just a brick wall in there. So, if you can sneak out that, the good part about it is that is 10,000. So, Nibbles down here, 3,500. That's a triple just back to those levels. My hunch here, though, is that she's not quite done. I wouldn't be surprised if we just probe down here. If anything, this is probably really good saucer bottom kind of talk. You guys have probably seen me do this over the past few months. Probably going to look something like that. So this is probably going to be major resistance. You know, a lot of these little ones, like guys like Joshua, are getting filled on gaps and stuff, and then they just pop violently back into resistance. That can give you nice little doubles all the way along here. But my hunch is this is still a bit early on this guy. Got a bit of a momentum failure here. Willie is stupid, so you're not walking into a trap. That's good. You can see the buyers really stepped up. Somebody's dumping a lot of coin here today. If this can turn out through the day and actually turn green and finish the day green, then I think that's actually pretty supportive. I don't think there's a major momentum push. It's not like a Davo, but let's see how this day goes. If they can turn it around and get it back up here, then you might get a nice shot up into these levels. My hunch is there isn't a heck of a lot of structure here. Yeah, you can see. So there is that bottom they're trying to carve out. And every time they want to get it up into here, boom, they just keep whacking it down. Boom, boom, boom. And actually really good example of value trade here. It gets above value and the buyers just run out of interest here. So I think you probably have to, don't like the fact that there's this gap right down there. Mr. 91.4 is probably going to be interested in that level. So that's 3,051. You know, it's just another fish in the ocean. Do like how OBV's trying to turn here. You can see momentum's trying to turn. Just looks, you know, honestly, it just looks early. I think you're not walking into a trap anymore. Phew, we got through the seasonal nightmare, so that's over now. So now we just have to wait for the bottom to form. So, not a bad idea. Keep it on the radar screen. You know, I don't mind if you don't have any in this. Little nibble here can't hurt. There's sure is a hell of a lot of profit potential. If you did nibble off of here, then you just got to cool your jets while you're waiting for a half-decent bottom to form to add to the trade. And certainly no pound the table. All right, ETHBTC. Here we go there, ETHBTC. ETHBTC. Boom. Guess we'll do tracks. Well, you know, really, this is the same kind of thing as, and I seem to remember we talked a bit about this recently. I was pretty jazzed at the idea of actually going and buying some Ethereum here recently. So I think you can understand just the nice little double bottom there. I don't know whether that was the best trade location or not. Actually, it looks like that's okay. Yeah, so look at that. It's actually below. Oh, interesting. So 78.6 tried to be a floor here, and then, ooh, lost it. Dead cat bounce. It looks to me like 78.6 is still in play here. Probably you got range guys who are looking at this. You know, and if Bitcoin breaks out here, then really that would kind of make sense why this rally would stall here. So, oh, look at that. 61.8 right on the nose. Doink. So, yeah, I mean, relative to Bitcoin, could I be a buyer of Ethereum right here? I don't think so. If anything, probably what you got to do is now go into RLZ ping pong mode. So those are the levels I think you probably got to watch for here now. Nice little dip, and go pull up Ethereum's price chart into the end of the year. I've noticed, like, if you look at last year, Ethereum loves to bottom right into the end of the year. Fuck you, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of dump here into this reload zone. And if and when that happens, then you really want to go into super stocking mode. So that's like, let's call it 0.028 all the way up to 0.33 in that area. It's not a bad level to keep an eye on going forward here. Whoever asked for that, there you go. Back to here, we'll just do the levels. There we go. Pretty, pretty. And actually, I like that. I like that that 78.6 because look how it's right in against this tail right here, right? So they take it right down against that tail, right? Nom, 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 nom. Don't break this bottom. That would be the area I think you want to go fishing. All right, who's next? NEO. Bitterix. Yeah, what the hell? Oh, cute little W. Hello, little W. W. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of coins that look like this. I don't know. I'm worried about names like this, right? Because what I think you're seeing here is some market symmetry. I'm worried that this is going to have to look like this. So maybe let's not get too jazzed about this being the bottom on names like this, because I've seen this happen where the market will come into levels, and think of it almost like a, you know, cat on a hot stove, right? Can you sort of see it comes into levels and just jackknifes away, jackknifes away, jackknifes away. So what that means is, you know, obviously there's somebody didn't want it to go below this level. But when they unwind the story, each of these are going to be objectives. There, there, there. And then you might get a big washout on the other side of that. So we're coming into these levels, stabby, then dead cat bounce, stabby, right? Dead cat bounce. And, you know, you might be able to get some free coin out of this. Totally. I don't, you know, like, good part about it is you guys now are turning into pretty good traders. You know, could you, if you're, you know, hunting against these levels, that's 0.0022 area kind of thing, 0.044, right? So looking for a rally into that wick, could you see that to get your double? I think it's doable. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's still one more washout on the other side of this. Be careful here. I hate when these things look like this. This is not solid enough of a floor to work with to believe in it. So on the short term, I think what's happening here is we came into some important horizontal support and resistance. Basically, the people that put the bottoms in before have said, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here. So nice little W's. You want to trade the W's? Go for it. You want to drill down to like hourly charts and hunt Kavarkanators to add to the trade. And I like that strategy, but what often ends up happening is if I buy a double bottom breakout like that, what'll often end up happening is price will go zooming up to the point where the Kavarkanator bid is actually the original double bottom level, right? That is sort of the textbook definition of the Kavark. So as it stands right now, if I did buy this double bottom, I'd be up on that part of the trade. And I think probably not a bad idea to have your stink bid working to try and buy at around the 78.6 right now to add to the trade. So if you got filled on both of those, probably give you a nice average cost here, about 0.0024. And as we said, is it realistic to 0.0024? So basically 0.0049, we'll call it. Is that realistic to see that, to get a double right into there? I think so. That's not totally out of the question. But at the same time, too, be cognizant that on the other side of that kind of counter trend rally, we might have to dump and head to new lows. This isn't as easy as something like the Digi that's kind of, you know, very different. Oh, interesting. Mr. 91.4 hit the max order amount on tracks. All right, so that's actually a really cool way to get around that, is just had to have on multiple exchanges. And the worst part about Bittrex is they're not doing themselves any favors with all of this shit, right? I mean, and it drives you crazy. I mean, yeah, what do you guys think? Is it important that you guys feel as though you're getting value when you participate on this site? The message from Brian. Do you hear that that's kind of important to Brian? And, when you guys have questions for customer support and you send us emails, do we reply relatively quickly? I think actually, frankly speaking, it's shocking how quickly we do actually reply. Some people are like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. You go to a site like Bittrex and, maybe they're just so big now, they just don't give a fuck. But they're not sending a very good sales message. They have not sent me the message that they value my business, that they consider me an important customer. And as soon as you're in the sales business and you stop doing that, that's actually extremely dangerous. So a little bit sad. And, I think probably like you say, Benjamin, these guys are all relatively young and they don't even understand the concept of things like, if you're in a rise-only market, they don't know what markets look like that are tough and lean and difficult sales-wise. So, if and when they get to that point, they may not be in business anymore. Who knows? So sad. But anyway, make hay while the sun shines. Enjoy it, guys. We're obviously in a nice little pocket of yumminess in the universe. So take advantage of it. Don't get greedy. Let's try and play from a position of strength. Be humble, right? Always be thankful of your customers. I think that's very important in this world. And just, follow the chalk marks. 16.5. Are we going to break out here? Come on, you son of a bitch. I'd love to just see a nice big fucking green candle here. Rock and roll. Okay. I sort of got sidetracked there. Sorry, guys. How are we doing here? Oh, Jesus, look how long the list is. XRP, didn't we talk about that already? I seem to remember somebody's interested in XRP around here. Yeah, so, hey, the kick in the pants is 38.2s all the way up there. Probably in the short term, these highs are probably going to come into play. So if we maybe do a fib off of here. Yeah, so 78.6 you can see is right up against that candle body railroad tracks there. 60. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look how we just anybody new to the site? Let's see. Hey, Brett, where the hell's your goddamn exam? Where have you been? That's what you get for piping in and posting something. You're gonna get called out. I've been wondering where the hell you've been. Anyway, anybody new to the site, hopefully you can learn this level. It's the top, or actually the bottom of what we like to call the reload zone. 61.8. And I used to know one crude oil trader who was really, really good trader. And his nickname on the pit was called Mountain Man. So he used to always hit this level just like religion. So through this school program, I've affectionately given this level the name Mountain Man. And can you see what just happened here? Does that make sense? We just literally went straight up and doink right off Mr. Mountain Man. As well too, came into a nice wick there. So that's a bit of a liquidity pool right there. The trapped guys on the couch that are desperate to sell. So I think you're probably going to run into a bit of resistance now. This trade's probably nearing fruition. As well too, remember we did this symmetrical study. You can see that this actually isn't out of the ordinary for this coin to do this. The question really ultimately at this point now is going to be, okay, what do we do now? Obviously, you bulls, and considering we're shooting for 38.2 way up there, what you'd love to see is just sort of like a nice stair stepping its way up here. So I run it, and good old bot, right? We'd ideally like to see at least 33% to set up the bot trade. So there is 33% there. So, ideal world, you'd love to see something like this, right? And to set up the next leg to take us up higher. I don't think it's a good idea chasing this. I think that's a bad idea. And if that scenario doesn't play out, and we actually have to go into a ranging scenario where the bull just sort of calms down, then we should probably be watching for reload zones. So those are basically the two scenarios I'm thinking going forward. Either shallow consolidation, which will set up continuation, which will set up a new bot entry to take us up top, or Mr. Mountain Man has his games, has his way, which is very normal. I don't really see anything out of the ordinary here. And if that's the case, then I would be hunting for pullbacks into reload zones, and we'll probably get into one of our little cat GIF ping pong game matches. And really, if you're a bull here, I think actually this is what you'd rather see. Because what you really want to see for us to do this kind of insane face rip next year, you guys see how we have this long, they put this insane tail in here, but really all this is now is boom, boom. You see the trading range. That's ideally what you'd actually like to see here. And I don't know whether it is or not, but let's see. Yeah. So really all this is, boobity boo, is nice backing up into reload zone. See that? That's, if you're a bull and you want to see this nutso and insane face rip, this is the kind of action you really want to see. So, woo, there's a move. What the hell is that? XRP, right on. So somebody's actually taking profits into this move. I hope you took profits. Oh, is that you stopping the market there, Josh? And actually, I see that happen a lot, right? So it looks like Josh is actually getting fills right at Mountain Man. I don't even know whether he realizes that. But do you see the difference here? So we try and form some sort of crazy ass bottom here, and then it sets up reload zones. Yoo-hoo! That's kind of what I'm thinking you should be doing here now, right? And ideally, for this to set up a really powerful rally, we would love to just see it come down here and just nice and quietly put in a bottom. So that's my thoughts there. If anything, like I said, if you are a long-term bull, you want this thing to calm down. And great to see you guys taking profits. That's fucking awesome. Pay yourself for this. It's hard work. So if you were able to grab it off the bottom and you're banging out doubles, hats off. Well done. Okay, let's see. AKA shitcoin. Okay. AKA, is it on here? Nope, didn't even make it there. All right, where are we going? What crazy part of the world are we heading to now? AKA. Oh boy. Not even here, eh? This thing must be really shitty. Oh, is that XRP? Oh, that was a combo. Okay. SWT. Oh, I just wasted a bunch of time there. SWT. Boosh. That's a daily chart. Wow. Well, come right up against the old lows. I think I was probably buying some in here. Wouldn't surprise me. Reload zones, all that kind of talk. I seem to remember, though, we got a double out on this rally here. I seem to remember saying that we got filled. So if anything, it's a great example of just, if you're gonna, go in and buy, just make damn sure you got those sell half on a double orders. Really, this thing never did tell us that it was starting to trend higher in earnest. Nice looking double bottoms, don't get me wrong. But it just never got going. If you did buy here and you had your orders working to sell halves on doubles, worst case scenario here, you're just, your free position that you generated through this is basically, that's your risk on the trade. If you just bought against these lows, you better make damn sure if you were trading this, we lose these lows, you just got to walk away, and it sucks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy. If you're nanny nibble, little old ladies, then hopefully you took your initial shot. If you were able to get a double off of this, great. You can always go add another nibble. But I think if you just took your initial nibble and you're just sitting there waiting for your doubles to get filled, I think we just got to cool our jets through here. Looks like there was a cute little bottom that came in here. That might have even generated a double in itself. Yeah, it did. Go figure. So the pros, it looks like they're putting in the bottoms and generating trades for themselves. The guys who are actually running this coin. Trend, still pointing down. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. And unfortunately, because we did lose this important low, actually, did we lose it? Maybe we just came right up against it. This is kind of like a lot of names right now. If you want to go in and take some nibbles against these low end of the range, I don't really have a problem with that. But that's at the absolute best we can say on this. You can see, somebody is buying this thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're back up here next spring. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. In fact, that's like 10x. 10x just to get back to this old candle body peak right here. 10x. This is a philosophical question. If you just put $1, let's say at $100 to work with, and you put $1 of that $100 into it, and if it goes 10x and you can take $10 out of this, should you take that bet? Holy Jesus, look at how fucking did you go. Jesus Christ. Huh. You should take that bet every day of the week. Even if the odds are like 20%, you still come out ahead. I think the odds are probably coin toss. Coin toss, you should take that bet every damn day of the week. So, is it worth going and just nibbling a little bit off of this just so you have some on the books to take advantage of this? I think so. But, make sure to build your trading plan, nanny nibbles, little old lady kind of stuff, right? Make sure to vet it. Make sure to have everything in place. Just don't do this off the cuff. And what I'd also be very cautious of is don't intermix your plans. If you're trading bots off of one plan, great. Segregate that plan. Allocate capital to that plan. Track all the trades off of that plan. Right? And then, am I doing well? Am I making money? Am I losing money? Am I actually sticking to my plan? It all is on one sheet that's separate. Little old ladies going and just nanny nibbling and looking to make these kind of trades into the spring, summer, total seasonal play. Great. There's tons of money to be made here, guys. It's ridiculous. It's almost a little, in a weird sort of way, considering how irritating these CNBC people are and stuff like this. If they would just realize how easy it is to make money at this, I bet you none of them would even be in the journalism game anymore. It's so ironic that they have to go to work every day, keep coming up with things to talk about, blah, 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 blah. When if they just understood how easy this game is, I don't know. It drives me nuts. Anyway, so could I go and nibble away on this? Yep, I think I got some on the books. Is this a pound the table? Brian, they are not there to educate the public. Yes, I have to remind myself, Bobo, we're not all altruistic in the end, are we? Sometimes all they're there to do is sell laundry detergent, right? So sad. and gets you out of really good stock investments, right? Okay. Let's see. Where else are we? Thank you for that, Bubba. DGB. Well, everybody, we've talked lots about that today. So IOTA. Yeah, IOTA versus ETH. Now, this is an interesting. What time is it? Oh, geez, it's already past the top of the hour. Anybody get any value out of anything I talked about here today? Yeah? You feel like you're getting your money's worth? I never know. Somebody in the lounge was asking whether this was maybe like a bot setup or something coming along here. And I guess I'm a little concerned when I look at a name like this. It's interesting how I keep seeing fucking Ron Jeremy's all over the place here. I mean, this isn't really the best example. And it's interesting because a friend of his just took the level 1 course. And I think we really helped him. I sure hope so. I suppose you could just draw a simple trend line off of there, and the bullish resolution here was a pretty juicy buy signal. I think we could probably also do one off of these highs. Coming down here, nice resolution. I would consider sort of the trade setup. Wait for the market to break the trend line and then take the market structure following that. And you notice here, for example, right, the breakout here, it didn't come, you know, the breakout through the trend line came, but then it rode the damn trend line down. And I've seen that happen repeatedly. So if anything, this is a really good example of why I like to hunt the structure following the breakout. So I think really I would argue that the trade signal comes in here, where you got your nice W there. And, you know, in essence, you know, longing in here, this is your risk on the trade. If you want to just RLZ this against the lows, great. You know, if you want to come to the trade a little bit later here, I can live with that. It's not the best. I mean, keep in mind, you're going to have a pretty tight risk window in there. Internals, very bullish all through this. Looking fucking awesome, right? Just beautiful. But that's not where we are now, right? That's like all way down here. And here we are. We've gone shooting up. And we had actually a site member who joined us last summer. And it was very painful for him to have to go through this. There was a coin that he was watching that had sort of done this. And he was, you know, very typical public, totally normal. Just like, fucking, hey, man, these guys reinventing the wheel. We're going to all get rich. And it's just like, you just, you know, you're trying to force things up here. And the worst part about it is, you know, we just simply draw things like good old reload zones. And sure enough, the coin had to work its way right back down into reload zones. So I'd be very leery about wanting to get involved in a name after it's had this massive run. And if anything, this is a great sort of testament to patience and discipline. I think if anything, if you are interested in this IOTA, you've kind of missed the boat. And what you really ought to do is wait for this thing to go through some sort of consolidation, find a bottom, and then go for the next cycle. I don't mean to be a pain in the butt. I'm sorry. But it's just honestly how I feel. I've seen too many times people try to force a long trade in here and then boom, they just get bitch slapped. And it's like, fuck me. Now, I think you asked, oh, this is IoT. So I don't even know if this is the right thing I'm looking at here. I hope so. There's IoT, and you asked to look at it versus ETH. Okay, so if anything, this is even clearer. Hopefully you can see beautiful, nice structural breakout here. And you love to see this. This is just like sexy sex, where you get the breakout and then it just sits there for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. It broke out. Every time it wants to come back in, it just gets rejected. And then quite literally, this is an absolute no-brainer trade. Goes up through the top here, and see you later. Total momentum trade, of course. You know, and if anything, this is, somebody was asking in the lounge about Amanda's penthouse. Somebody was asking about Amanda's apartment or something. And it's just sort of a funny joke. It's, you know, there's nothing really serious about it. But in essence, what it just implies is that markets like to move in a very structurally way. And if we think about what a head and shoulders is and the objective of a head and shoulders, it's basically just that sort of parking garage kind of concept. So, you know, this is 200%, which is a natural sort of head and shoulders, you know, very structural movement. There's no reason why we can't, you know, add more levels to the parking garage to get an idea that if they're structurally moving the coin or story, how could that structural story go? And so there's 400%. Look at that, eh? Wow, damn close. So in essence, really what this looks to me like is a very structural story. 200%, you can see they rallied it up into that level and then had to back it off. Then they opened it up. They actually brought it back down. They reloaded and shot it up into this level, getting up into that 300%. Then one more hurrah, up into 400%, and then you're done. Usually, I've noticed that these stories have to stop at 400%, but you look at Bitcoin, there was Bitcoin's 400%. Did that stop it? You can see that there was a hell of a battle here. And then Bitcoin said, fuck it. Let's keep going. So it's not like, you know, 400%, it has to stop there. It's just thinking about the market in a structural level and thinking of levels versus thinking of just, you know, looking at the screen and trying to figure out why price is moving one tick to a next tick. Think of this as a massive trading range. And, you know, our level tours, they just did point and figure charting. And in point and figure charting, what they'd actually do is all of this price exploration, they consider it actually like pent up energy in the market. And so the more X's and O's you have within a given trading range called the horizontal count, if you can break out through the top end of the range, then they just apply that same horizontal count vertically now. And in essence, that is that parking garage kind of concept. That think of this as stored up energy. And then that energy is released in a very structurally appropriate way. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes sense. It sounded good. All right. I think we better leave it at that. I've gone overtime here. I'm sure somebody's probably waiting for me. So I do have quite a few meetings with Liam's care team this afternoon. So I'm going to hop the site probably around noon. I'll be back probably later on this evening. So please don't go and blow up Bitcoin while I'm gone. Hope you all appreciate and got some, I don't know. I'm sure there's some conspiracy, Jordan. Like, isn't that CNBC? Isn't it basically owned by a cable company? And it'd be really interesting to see, does access to the various nodes on the internet, does that get changed somehow? And does that affect mining? I'd be very curious. Not very many people have talked about it. So probably a very good conversation to have, Jordan. Absolutely. Do the cable companies want, and you know, that's the sad part about this stupid politicians, right? Ironically enough, it's almost like they're not even listening to the public. They couldn't even give a shit about the public. And that's, you know, I guess that's sort of what makes me really sad. In fact, it was really funny. I put out a tweet yesterday about Digi, and I had said, I so can't wait. Where is it? Maybe it wasn't Digi. No, yeah, it was Doge. I put out a tweet. I said, I want to see those snooty, pompous sons of bitches, especially this one particular female with dark hair and one hell of an attitude, bark like a dog. Because they're going to have to be talking about Doge at some point here. And what I love so much, somebody replied back, and I don't know who this is. I knew I bought your class for a reason. I love it. So, I mean, obviously, Brian's got a slightly different bent than the media and the public and stuff. But I guess what I see, and I'm really disappointed. Frankly speaking, I just don't understand it. But in essence, the politicians have completely disconnected from what the public wants. I mean, it's quite shocking, really. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in our society, but clearly, these Trumps and all this kind of stuff, it's total disconnect. And frankly speaking, the more it does that, the more fuel for Bitcoin's fire. I would actually argue Bitcoin in itself is a vote by the market, you people, the actual people that run the world. Bitcoin is a vote on all that bullshit. So rah Bitcoin, and frankly speaking, if that's the case, 20,000, why not 50,000? Why not 100,000? This is the perfect time in the cycle. People have lost all confidence in the system. So I don't know how high this damn thing goes. I don't know where Jeremy is, but I always ask him if I've told any of you to call tops on Bitcoin. I don't think that's a good idea. Just let's see where this damn thing takes us. Anyway, I better shut up because I've been talking way too much. All right, you guys have yourselves a great day. We'll see everybody again tomorrow morning, bright and early. Let's, ideally, I would love to go to all my meetings with Liam and come back and see Bitcoin nicely above 16,678 area here on Stamp. And then I'll feel a lot more comfortable that we are indeed going to go higher. So, okay, you guys take it easy. All the best, everybody, and bye for now.